All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back today with somebody who's a lot of fun and a kind of a hero in my book. He's somebody who's working with this great organization, Sea Shepherd. He founded Artists for Sea Shepherd as well. We got Geert Vons. How you doing, Geert?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. Doing well. And looking forward to be able to chat a bit about art and how that could help create a better world.
And I think it does when it's applied correctly. So I'll just ask you, for all the people that don't know, so what is Sea Shepherd and kind of when did it start? How did it start?
Sea Shepherd is a marine conservation club society founded in 1977. Like now, we some people might know us from Whale Wars. There's been like a series on Discovery Channel and some other TV about our actions against illegal Japanese whaling in the Arctic, which lasted for 12 campaigns. But we try to fight like abuse, the slaughter of animals where the laws are in place, and like overfishing, but also like killing of the pilot whales on the Faroe Islands, like their tradition, and try to fight it by either going there or like in a legal way, like when it comes to pilot whales at the Faroe Islands. It's a species which is protected in all the waters around by the Berne Convention, and suddenly when they happen to swim too far in this watery area, then suddenly it's allowed to slaughter them. So that's just feel like it's absurd. So and then I think mankind has been really sort of start to become good into rationalize their behavior. That's not only when it comes to abusing animals, but also how we treat nature, how we like the overfishing, the global warming. So that's not our problem. People that try to push it forward. I think it's good to look at the world, the planet, and the ocean as one. So actually, there's only one ecosystem, and we're all part of it. And by having that definition, it already shows that you're also playing a role in it. And what you do does matter. But with Sea Shepherd, very often I get the question, okay, but what are the results? Do you not get frustrated or upset when you know that you cannot achieve what you want to achieve? That for me, that doesn't matter. Of course, it does matter. But what's most important, that I, as a person, believe in what I'm doing and that I can make a difference. And it could be a really tiny difference. That doesn't matter. I do it because I want or have to do it. And I think that's the drive and that's the motivation. And I think that's also the strength of Sea Shepherd. You can see by the people involved, there's some form of authenticity. Like, it's not laid upon someone to do it. So the drive, the motivation is strong. And sometimes we've been accused of environmental terrorists or whatever. But I think, hey, you laugh about it. It's really easy to counter that one because if you, in the definition of terrorist, it's mostly unrecognizable people. Well, all of us, the border volunteers, you can find our details and name on the internet. It's also the deeds you do are spreading terror to achieve your goal. We don't do that at all. We just are very, and it's arbitrary. And what we do, our campaigns, they're very specific. The people involved, you can find all the names and all the details. And we do not want to spread terror at all. No. And there have been in the past confrontations with illegal operating whaling vessels. And that's like, at the time when there had been a confrontation, and because some of the vessels were registered in the Netherlands, so I was responsible for the registration, so the government said, hey, Geert and Mr. Vons, became Geert after so many years. Hey Geert, how are you doing? Yeah. So we started talking again. And at a certain point, I said, the way you are looking at it, you're asking me certain questions, but I would like to turn the tables. I would like to ask you. You just like the shipping inspector. considering what's happening there. They're looking at it. And I say, if this fleet wasn't there would be no confrontation, nothing would have happened. It's illegal to whale in a whale sanctuary. It's illegal to kill whales undersized. It's illegal to kill pregnant whales. It's illegal to refuel like the heavy fuel within these areas. And then he said, okay, but that's not up to us to decide. I said, no, I know. And that's why I'm sitting here now, because you only look at 2 pieces of metal and do ploink. And then one of them had to laugh, and then the other 5 were like, oh, are you serious? Said, okay, but then I don't think there's anything to discuss. You're not going to say, give in. I'm not going to give in if giving in means like, hey, you did something wrong. So, but at that time, it was like the basic thing when it comes to good seamanship. You have to do everything to avoid a collision. And say, okay, what do you want me to say? So it was an interesting conversation. And now, after 12 campaigns, in 2014, the International Court of Justice, the highest court in the world, part of the United Nations, has ruled against the Japanese whaling program to be not for scientific purposes. So, and they have used Australia delegation against Japan, and I spoke record to the Australian delegation and said, like, the footage you guys have made was crucial to show what's going on. So based on our footage, we've been able to win the case at the United Nations National Court. So what I mean, the laws and regulations are in place. What if no one is checking? What if those regulations are not upheld? So that's sort of like it's a bit longer answer to your question. But Sea Shepherd, we are striving to fill the void, the vacuum when it comes to patrolling, controlling, and upholding those international regulations. The treaties, they're there. They've been signed. But what's a paper worth if on a piece of paper?
Yeah. So you made it pretty clear that the judicial and the executive, or the policing and then taking these people to court, it's severely lacking, and that's where you come in. So you also had a start as an artist. You've been an artist for a long time. You're a tattoo artist. You creative mind. How did that start? And then how did you transfer from that to activism, or was it vice versa? How'd that work?
It's like I've been raised in a Christian way. So why do I say that? Because I think then later I want to become an artist, and I think for me the main characteristic of becoming an artist is to think free. So let your thoughts go, or be open to whatever you receive to become creative. So be a thinking mind for yourself. Per definition, that doesn't always go together with religion. Anyway, so I did some studies in the art academy, didn't finish it because actually, to be honest, I find it too vague and too like, you gotta be kidding me. So it's more too many conceptual thinking. I just want to learn to make paint, how does it work, to sculpt the techniques and stuff. Then I studied Chinese. I got a degree. My paper was some investigation in traditional medical texts in 500 and 300 before Christ. So in ancient China, it's like philosophy and spirituality and the physical part of becoming sick. They were all combined. Very interesting. So you could see the body as a little microcosm. Like when it's out of balance, it's become ill. And the body, and more bodies, and then suddenly there's the planet. So the microcosmos and the macrocosmos can even be bigger. So it's all about balance and about how you're dealing with it, how you respect the various parts in your body, and how you're thinking, you're acting, the body and the mind. And I think that's the same on a bigger level with the planet, with the ocean, and with the variety of species. And then we come back again to ecosystem. It's not ecosystems, it's one ecosystem. the same as what you call you, your body, your mind. They're one. We could elaborate on that, but let's say that's one. And within that unity, it can be like an imbalance, which you can restore. You can take away the harmful influences by nutrition. You can make your body better by you train your mind. And I think on a larger level, you can do the same with the globe and with the ocean. And I think so. To help spreading or clarify that way of thinking, if you take responsibility of who you are and your role, and I think again going back to what Sea Shepherd does, we step up and we're very determined, and in a way protect. Like, we take it serious, like what's going on. Like, hey, let's do something. Of course, you cannot do everything, but you can focus on certain aspects, and that's like what Sea Shepherd does. Reading conservation, especially like the trolling, acting violations, and especially when it comes to the encounter greed, because whaling, it's all based on making money. And I realized, like many people, the image they have of men, that they're honest, strong, good people. Reality is totally different. Like the crews we have seen being abused, controlled on the high seas. Like there's officers and there's the crew. They're Philippines, Asian countries, taken under false prejudice on the ex-crew. People have been on board with vessels for years, can't get up because they don't have any money. That's why you can't crew on the ships. If they're seas, they come to a foreign port, can't get up because they don't have money. They don't speak the language, so they're trapped. Not in slavery. So it's people, poor people, being used as slaves, and it's estimated like 1/3 fish being caught has been caught in this manner, and that's the most people. Then, yeah, I still like the fish. It's fine. It's not up to me to judge you if you like fish or not. It's not up to me if you say, "I'm going to eat it anyway." Okay, that's fine. But don't say you didn't know it. And I think for me, that's the most important. What we're doing, like, hey, show what's going on, and then present the evidence, show the facts, give the results, make the reports, have the footage, and then hopefully the powers that be will act accordingly how to solve it.
And you guys have had some pretty good success in doing that.
Yeah. And like now also we have like partnerships with about 8 countries in Africa. So we provide the vessels, and respective countries, they have the law enforcement people. So those are the people who are allowed to board vessels in their own waters and make the arrests. And we support them, provide sort of a service, because many African countries, the material is very thin stretched. They don't have the capacity. Many don't even have like a navy or the vessels to patrol their own water. So we help with that. And now you can see over the last couple of years, over 80 arrests have been made. And it also has like a sort of deterrent effect for other illegal operating fishing vessels. Very often are European flagged. And many got subsidy being deterred.
So it's kind of dangerous, this line of work. You're out there in the open seas, stuff happens. I mean, has there ever been what was more dangerous, being in the courts on the land or being out there on the ocean?
Depends how you look at it. And I think I would always incline to say everything on water is way more dangerous, but simply by the fact you're dealing with nature. Like, for instance, also myself, I've been on vessel, various campaigns on vessel. But if, let's say, there's a little bit of grease or oil on the deck of your boat. Could even be a normal vessel, not one of ours. Water and oil, they don't go together. So you slide, you fall overboard. If for whatever reason you fall overboard in waters which are cold, colder, almost freezing, hypothermia, it's done like that. So if you would not take care, be careful when on deck. I always use the example, if you're sailing in Arctic waters and something happens, someone falls overboard, they're already dead. Because by the time you fall overboard, the vessel is still going with a certain speed. So you have to look, where is this person falling overboard? And if one time you look back again, in the water, it's only the head, which you can see. So when you're sailing away from this person falling overboard, and because of the waves, dark, light, at a certain point, if you look at that person, look back, hey, please help, and then back, where is he again? So that's why you always have to keep pointing and then start screaming, because you have to know where this person is. Then the bridge should know, and as soon as possible, on the coordinates, when they hear the call, mark them down, and then they have to turn the vessel, which is not that easy when it comes like a vessel of 30, 40, or 50 meters. So when you talk about, that's already, you put the danger in perspective. There is something when you're dealing with the elements. And that's, you're out there in one of the most harsh environments of the world. So that's already a danger. But if people mean like the confrontations with fishermen or with whalers, it's like, I think certain neighborhoods in which illegal, whichever city, it's way more dangerous. And I think you could even argue that being part of traffic is more dangerous than things that we're doing. Because at least we are prepared and we know what we're looking for. And when it comes to traffic, it's not always sure what's happening.
It's true.
It's the rules, like the red lights, and my guy next to me was waiting, and suddenly one person bumped through red, hit me.
Yeah.
Different story again. But it's good to, like she said, we don't want to avoid a confrontation, because I think that's what you're aiming at. Mm-hmm. Is it dangerous or not? Everything can become dangerous situation. We will not avoid if we see the vessel is violating and illegal operating in certain waters, be it killing sharks or being like fishing, regardless of it. Go there. And because now we work in a partnership with authorities, then again, still, I think, I don't know how many, but like in Mexico, it's like so many, I don't like the word activists, but I think it's the highest rate of activists killed in the world. And it's just people who care. That's very, very.
Yeah.
So I'm not favor. I don't like the word activist, because it gives you a label, whereas you're just someone who says like, hey guys, you can do that.
You guys are a lot more hardcore than just what we think of as an activist, which is somebody that's maybe just got a sign and is yelling outside of a building. This is a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit different. But I think it's just like, I think determination is a key word. Like, hey, you have to walk your talk. I think you should do that in every part of life. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. So that for me puts the word activist, like, I hate that word, because there's such the feeling of people when they call it activist, it's one of those guys. Whereas there's a huge range, variety in all the activists. That's like, and also going back to this ecosystem or ecosystems. It's like activists. I'm not a person like that. Yes, you are a person like that, but you only don't do anything. That's the difference. We all have to deal with the same circle, same planet. The difference is that this person does act, and the other doesn't, and takes things for granted and just keeps on living her or his life without giving a shit.
Yeah.
That's it. So it doesn't have anything to think it's big or very. The role and conflict and like you're either activist or non-activist. That, I like that one. It's like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Need a better name like Eco Warrior or some kind of.
I think it's just the name. It's just name is just a label. It should
Right.
be. I think that's like if you talk with people, you know, are you willing to come to a nice conversation or discussion, or is it just like who has the best rhetorics and blah blah.
Right. Right.
I think, come on, it's like, okay, we had a brief discussion before this interview, and I think that it's important because what I like in discussions or interviews that you can learn from it, and maybe you can help me discover something which I didn't know or correct my views. And that's like in general, I love when you get requests for interviews. I don't always like them, but with children and students, I always say yes. And they're always the hardest because they come with questions, especially children. And I like it. It's good because there's some directness in it. And then also I'd like interview with a journalist and they start asking questions. I think we're wasting our time. Have a look at the website and then you can find better answers than if I'm answering your questions now. And again, Wikipedia might also be better. Don't expect me to know all the statistics 100% right. Apart from the fact that the statistics are maybe not even right. When it comes to populations, boat populations, blue whale populations, you can make an estimate. But they can argue, no, but it's too little. We don't know. But what we do know, that the way we act is not responsible. It's only based upon we. I think, for me, that's more important. It's not like who has the facts really accurate. Of course, you should know and base your actions on rational expertise and some certain level of science. Because scientific reports are good.
Yeah.
But if science and everything related would be the solution, why are we still in this worldly mess that we are in?
Well,
If all the reports are there and everyone agrees upon it, why are we then so stupid that we don't do anything? I don't understand.
Well, this is what we discussed before about philosophy, and philosophy is kind of at the basis of it. And no labels, but actually thinking about what we're doing. And this might what makes a better interview.
Yeah, I think it's like you have to be aware of what you're doing and why you make a certain choice and why you're doing things. And sometimes it can be a really down-to-earth decision just because you're trying to make a living and you just have to feed your children. And then you do certain things. You can't afford to buy biological cucumbers or whatever sort of meat because you just don't have the money. But you would love to. Are you then going to say that's a bad person? I don't believe in good or bad person based on these sort of judgments and criteria. Of course, there's bad actions and there's bad motivations. But you can, if you investigate or go deeper into it, motivation, you can always find an explanation. And I think that you at that base, that's where you ideally, or you should look for the solutions. In the meantime, you have to make sure that we will not take everything out of the ocean and build all the shit we have in it. But I think that's, I don't know where it was, I think in the Amazons. And this whole idea, we can take a tree and we plant back 10 little seedlings. That was one big tree. That tree is gone forever. And then you put little seeds back. That is just a way for us, again, it's the rationalization. It's like to make us feel less bad. When I ride a motorbike. A few months ago, I was in the Netherlands, I had to tank, refuel, blah, blah, and then the lady behind the counter, yeah, we also compensate for your CO2. So I started laughing. I said, you gotta be kidding me. Now you want me to pay for something with the big companies should do. Or just make the prices even higher. Fine, do it. But don't start making me feel guilty because I drive and fuel my bike. I already pay ridiculously high price per liter. And now and they say, yeah, I had to ask from my boss. What a world are we living in?
This is like when ExxonMobil tweets out, they say, everybody start to recycle and track your carbon footprint. It's like, how about not dumping all the fucking oil into the ocean? How about that?
Yeah, and I think that's everything we take out from the ocean, that's gone. And everything we throw in the ocean is there. And by giving it a price, labeling it a price, you completely mess around with even more with people's mind. Because they start to get used everything having a financial value. And I think that's where it goes wrong. A tree alive doesn't have a financial value. It has a value because it's a tree or it's alive. And I think the only way we can change the world is that we start to change our way of thinking. And that starts with every individual. So that comes back again. Like, unfortunately, I met too often people who have like a low self-esteem. They think, yeah, what can I do? You can do something. But that it starts already with how those people look at themselves. And you can make a difference. And like just by what I said, this way of reasoning or arguing, by just standing for what you believe in and having faith and trust in that what you do can make a difference. It's like all those drops together in the end, they fill the bucket.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. And also, all the best ideas or movements have grown out of the thought of one or a small group of people.
And I like what we said before, because your philosophy is don't worry about what results you're getting. Just put your head down and do the thing that you know was right, and continue on. And I get sidetracked. I always worry about if it matters or if it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like in the end result, it doesn't matter. Of course it does matter, but it does not matter when it comes to should I do something or not. For me, that's not the matter. If okay, that mind's. No, I'm not going to say that. I think it's like, what's the alternative? And we also discussed before this interview a little bit like some benefits of getting older. And I think, that the benefit one is like, yeah, you do it because you know you can make a difference, and not doing anything, that's not awesome. And I think that comes again to self-esteem, self-respect. I think that's also something in Western society, or maybe all society, that's people are being so many aspects of things that bring you down or try to bring you down. And like then the way society is set up, like with all those stupid regulations and systems, and like IT-wise, technology, you would think we could improve so many things. But when it comes to communication, I think I can say it. Then you have those service agencies, or like whatever company, for a service desk. I don't know, but if you first have to press 10 buttons, and then sometimes the connection is broken, and then you have like this chat service person. I'm typing, actually this morning I was typing a question to a chat thing, and then it doesn't answer my questions. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I can help you. No, I don't think you can. And then just say something, what else can I do for you? Give me a fucking phone number.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean. Just like, is that the best we can do? Is that how we use our science? Is that how we use our technology? I don't think we do. And I don't want to talk about like this conspiracy theories, but I think there's a lot going on which you're not aware of. Mm-hmm. And I think there's also many ways in which technology has been used in a way to be profitable, whatever.
Right. This is the marriage of capitalism and technology, which in the beginning of the internet, it was like, okay, here's this great democratizing way to communicate. And then corporations within 10 years said, okay, let's get in there and make sure that we, ruin this.
I don't know what would be the exact wording. Like this whole thing with Facebook friends. I've never been a fan of this sort of things, but so a couple of years ago, I completely stopped with that. I was at an event in Italy, and some people, I think 3 people in the same event came to me, saying, "Hey, but why don't you reply to my messages?" I said, "Yes, we're friends on Facebook." Oh, sorry, I didn't know the people. If this is where your life is, and that's what I noticed more and more. People behind their screen. Where's the real life?
Yeah. Well, this is a big reason why I'm doing this now. It's not because I think that I'm going to be some great podcast guy. It's because I'm going out and talking to people face to face who I want to talk to and making friends that way.
So now we're friends.
Now we're real friends. Yeah. And you know it. You're actually aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, there's a whole world outside this screen, outside the digital.
Yeah.
And I think also by like this whole IT will make things more clean. Whereas when it comes to the food you eat, animals that they work, way how meat or whatever is produced, it's a totally different world. That's like, for instance, if when it comes to meat, if you could only buy meat at the butcher and not in the supermarket, and there would be no subsidy meat, how many lives would that save per year? But then you would have to go to a butcher, and the butcher gets, okay, ma'am, I go back, and he comes back up, blood on his hands, puts it on the counter. Okay, that's 1 kilo beef. Okay. And then again, you have to pay a normal price. So what would be the consequence? It would be that people start thinking, oh, actually it's quite expensive and a lot of blood in it. That's an animal. And I'm serious, I think it would make a big difference. And then also, if it would be illegal to sell, to stunt or promote with meat. So if you have a barbecue, that you cannot go to the supermarket where you all clean plastic stuff and you buy 3 kilos of chicken wings, price of 2. If that's not allowed, I think those two facts, no stunting and only buying it at the butcher, I think that would already save so many lives, because people would start more conscious about, basically probably because what it costs, but also it would mean that they would eat less, which I think in the West is also not a problem, because many people overweight. So it has a lot of advantage, but it just needs a different way of thinking. Like now, with this whole war in Ukraine, which of course is terrible, and like the consequences, Russia and the gas, now suddenly people can the thermostat a few degrees and they will wear an extra sweater. Why? Because of financial. So we can change our behavior. Yeah. So if now we just pretend like all the animals, there's a link, well, we have to be on ration, so we can't buy as many as we want. So we have to put the same way of acting on what we eat. Then we can make a difference. So why do I say this? Because I think we can make a difference if we want to, or when we're forced to. So of course the we want to aspect is preferable, because that comes inside. But when we're forced to it, I think there's a part of which governments can play, because they can manipulate, which they do anyway. So they manipulate to be less harmful for the environment. Mm-hmm. And then no subsidies on the diesel, which the fishing vessels get to go out catch fish. No subsidy on diesel for the tractors and all the machines on the land. Why is there subsidies on that?
Yeah. This is the idea that they need to feed everybody and they're going to use subsidies to do that. But, you're right in the sense that they're not going to nothing's going to change until you make certain things illegal or not legal, because it was the same with seatbelts until they made it illegal to not wear a seatbelt. And then you found 70-80% of the people started wearing their seatbelt because they didn't want to get in trouble. We're very simple creatures.
I don't know what was the right word. We're complicated creatures. Well, actually, we're not complicated at all. It's like, yeah.
We think we're complicated. We think we're very smart and nuanced and stuff, but we're actually monkeys in clothes.
I think we're maybe even more stupid than that.
Well, you were the one telling me don't be anti-human. I'm like, I'm really trying. And then you're like, yeah, we're all just a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, but I don't say we're bad. So I'm not anti-human.
Okay.
I have respect for mankind. But then there's also this whole thing like there's a whole variety there's different degrees in being a human or being a person, acting as a human and being an animal. All this. I think man has the potential to be very good and very positive. But I think laziness and ignorance and greed are a few aspects which sometimes blur the picture a bit.
Yeah.
Very often blur the picture.
Yeah.
And especially greed.
Yeah.
And we all do it.
It's in our nature for some reason, but
So we have to try and change that. And I think that's what Sea Shepherd tries to a certain level in certain fields to try and save the ocean and what's in it as long as we can. Because we can hope that mankind will improve and become better, but if it's going to take so long, the oceans will be empty.
Yeah.
The good thing is, it's also, I don't know anymore when or where I read it, it's like this whole thing like, and if we go on like this, then life will be impossible and we'll die and blah, blah. That's not really. It's like, the earth will go on. Earth will always exist, only it might not be possible to live for mankind. I can't live with it. It's like, it's our fault. It's like, okay, then we know better, but we should have acted better. And I think that's the main thing like now, which can make me not angry because I don't have many things getting angry, but then it comes again to the stupidity. We know what's going on. We know it, and we just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. That's a dangerous attitude to always keep. There's this funny thing where they said if a monkey took all the bananas from the rest of the monkeys and one monkey just went off with them and left the other monkeys to starve, scientists would be desperately trying to figure out what's wrong with this monkey. Why did he do that? But when in the case of humans, we put him on the cover of Forbes magazine.
Yeah, and that's
it. So we're going to try to, everybody out there, do what you can to live a compassionate and thoughtful, mindful existence, and especially for biodiversity's sake.
Yeah, and I think at least try to be mindful and thoughtful what you do, and even if it's might not be the best, at least you've thought about it. Yeah. And in a way, you will evolve, or you find your way, your path, and things will change.
Yeah. And like we were saying before, like as far as don't beat yourself up and don't use a lot of dogma. You do the best you can when you can. And then if you fail miserably, or if you cheat a little bit and have some cheese when you're a vegan, don't worry about it. Just do better next time and just be thoughtful, people.
I think that's the best. It's the same like you can only make your own decisions and try to do your best. And indeed, like what you said, don't let dogmas drive you crazy. And I think it's like this, okay, I was born and was raised Christian, and what I hate the most is like this, as forever condemning curse, you did something wrong and now you will rot in hell. Well, there's also other approaches. So you did something wrong. Okay, maybe don't do it again and go on. That seems to be more positive and reasonable to me.
That's why religion never did it for me. I said, oh, geez.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's like religion, it has positive aspects. I mean, the basis of religion, but the basis of all religions has been on individual personal experiences. And once it became institutionalized, then it went wrong. Because the basis, those people, though, they were all great, enlightened people or prophets or whatever you want to call them. They were special people. And they did get along with society because they were, then we go back to the creativity. They had their own way of thinking in freedom, and then they came to a certain discoveries, etc. And that's what, per definition, the powers that be, they don't like. They don't like you to think for yourself. They want you to do what they want you to do. That's how religion started, the church started. Then suddenly, when it starts as the experience you should have as an individual, they're going to decide for you what you should feel or what you should do. And I can guarantee that was, per definition, not the same as how it started. And for instance, when you come to the Bible, the final, the books that became in the Bible, it was like meeting is the wrong word, but it was in Alexandria in 300. Then it was decided which books were included in the Bible. But maybe it would be good to keep in mind that at the time Alexandria was under the authority of Rome. So there was some political thing like, hey, if it would be too much free thinking, no way they would have accepted it.
Yeah.
And that sort of things. And it's the same like also thing which always intrigues me, always gave me sort of smile. Especially when you go to the US and this Christian thing, and Jesus is like a white person thing. And then, but he would look way more like the person in the shawarma shop outside your door than a really beautiful white tinted person.
Yep.
Ooh,
well,
problem.
In America, Jesus drove a monster truck and he had an AK-47 and a bucket of fried chicken.
Oh, yeah. And that's how can you be, and that's what I always have to laugh. How money is always seen as something the most mundane, non-religious, non-sacred things. Why the hell would you want to have "In God We Trust" written on your coin or on your notes?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah. It set the tone for the rest of the American experience as far as capitalism and all this stuff. It really... And it, like you said, it weaponized religion against the people. It started good, and then they said, well, let's use this to do what we want to do.
Yeah, I think that's what it... So again, you have to think what you want to do yourself. And again, I don't want to condemn anyone, any religion, whatever, for what she's doing. As long as that person knows why she or he is doing something. And it's a conscious, and I think that's the most important. And then it also comes to respect. If someone honestly, from the heart, believes in certain wonders or miracles, then I can respect that. And maybe that person is even right. But when it comes to reality, which reality is true? There's as many realities as people living.
Right.
And I think that's what you should keep in mind. And that's what I love about this Hindu example. It's saying like there's like 7 or so many blind people touching an elephant, and one said, well, it's a sort of a movable, flexible sort of creature, so it's scary. Oops.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you can only understand or relate to what you experience with your senses.
Yeah. And this is important to remember. And then critical thinking is just something that would get us at least halfway out of this mess if we all just practice it a little bit more.
Yeah. And creative thinking.
Creative thinking.
That's actually what we were supposed to have this interview about art and more creative.
Yeah. Well, you're going to come back. We're going to do it again because this was too much fun and way too easy. I got all of my questions here. They just went out the window. I just forget it.
So we'll do next time. We do it again.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, tell people how they can get involved and support you guys in the Sea Shepherd thing.
Yeah, I think the best thing is just when you go to website, and then the overall umbrella website is like the seashepherdglobal.org, and then you can see also you can be redirected to your countries. It would be like France, Germany, UK, the Netherlands, wherever it is. So seashepherdglobal.org. I think there you also find the links to the creative sites like the art and the music. I'm more than willing, and actually maybe we should have like another conversation talking about what we were supposed to talk about.
Sure.
It will not happen again either.
Well, I'm sure we'll have many conversations. Well, I guess we'll sign off now, and then we'll chat afterwards, and wish everybody, good luck. Take care of each other, everybody.
That's good. Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.